welcome back to the Feisty Ferret business. I've got Valfie in my arms. Today is going to be a video about winter ferret care because, like a lot of animals, ferrets have different care needs and different reactions to things in the winter than they do in the summer. So a little overview. Ferrets tend to handle the cold better. When it gets towards winter, you can get like cold outside, like to a minus degrees. Pierre's being naughty. Some people will keep their ferrets outside even during that weather because they can handle it. If you are planning on keeping the ferrets outside even when it gets cold, I would always recommend having as much insulation as possible because, you know, just because they can handle it doesn't mean that it's particularly nice. But yeah, so they can handle the cold a lot better than they handle the heat. They do get heat stroke very easily. Isn't that right, my baby? Like I said, ferrets will react differently in the cold than they do in the heat. So let's talk about it, shall we? So the most obvious difference between winter and summer is that in the winter, they can put on weight. You may notice that your little girl is getting a little bit chunky. With Valfie, it's a bit hard to tell because you're always a bit of a chunk, aren't you? No, you are. But Pierre, I can tell, is gaining some chunk. He's always a bit of a slimmer boy, but like when I pick him up, I can feel the extra chunk. I can feel he's definitely getting heavier, and he's bulging out a little bit more here. I'm not fat shaming you. I'm not, honey. I'm not. But what should we call it? Yeah. So they can put on more weight. This is nothing to worry about. Ferrets' weight fluctuates a lot. So some people don't really consider weighing them to be very important because they fluctuate so much that it's not really going to be a good measure for health. So what people do instead is they just sort of go by sort of cycles, I guess. It's normal for them to gain weight in the winter, lose it in the summer, and the same goes with fur. Sometimes they'll shed and then grow out longer fur or thicker fur in the winter, which again adds to that weight gain, doesn't it? But yeah, so if you find that your ferret is gaining weight during the winter, that is normal. It may also, their appetites may go up as well, so maybe eating more, again, that's normal. If you think your ferret is particularly overweight to the point where it's causing health issues, then go get that checked out. When in doubt, see a vet. If it turns out to be nothing, then it's nothing. But always better to be safe than sorry. Oh, you're in a mood today. He's in a mood. He's in the right mood. But yeah. So another thing is that it's very common in the summer for ferrets to get quite lethargic with heat because they're just not really built for it. But the same thing can happen in the winter, especially with older ferrets or ferrets with health issues. It's actually quite common for them to slow down a bit, be sleeping a lot more, especially if you're in a place that doesn't get a lot of light. Like if your room is the room area is quite dark, if where the ferrets live doesn't get a lot of light during the day, if it's an older ferret or one with some health issues, it's either a lot more likely to be more lethargic like they would be in the summer. They might be sleeping more, eating more, be a bit lazier. My boy Ralph's doing that right now and I'm trying not to worry about it, but because he has a heart condition, I will be getting him checked up with a vet just to make sure that everything is okay. But it is relatively normal for all these sort of behavioural changes to happen. But again, when in doubt, see a vet. If anything, it just gives you that peace of mind, but it's just not something to be like worrying about the moment you think your ferret's being a bit lazier than usual. But yeah, just something to keep an eye on. So yeah, like I said, they will be eating more most likely. Nothing to worry about, unless you think that they are gaining a significant amount of weight that is like going to be causing issues. Sorry, my laptop is freezing a little bit. But yeah, so that may happen. They may also be a bit more clingy because it's getting cold. Obviously, although ferrets can handle the cold better than they can handle heat, sometimes they may want that extra bit of, company, bit of heat and warmth. So they may become more clingy towards other ferrets or to you. My boy Valsal's definitely being a lot more clingy with me. He's been like snuggling, haven't you? Did you come over? He's been snuggling, he's been sleeping in my lap. Just generally a lot more cozy. Aren't you? Aren't you, baby? Oh. So yeah, they may be more clingy. Obviously, for most ferrets this isn't an issue, but if you've got ferrets that are particularly not really interested in that sort of close contact, then just keep an eye on them, make sure we're not bugging each other too much. But generally, it's not an issue. So to prepare for the winter with ferrets, honestly, there's not a huge amount you need to do. Just if they're out, if your ferrets live outside, just remember to keep as insulated as possible. If it gets below freezing levels, like below 0 degrees Celsius, then definitely include more insulation to stop their water from freezing over. And check on them as regularly as you can. Isn't that right, my baby? Keep their food topped up. Just because they're eating more doesn't mean you can't give them more. Like, just ferrets eat as they need, so just if you find that they're going through their food quicker than usual, just top it up more. But also more protein dense sort of raw meats is going to be especially good during winter, so if you're able to, consider that as well. And try and get more active time with them. If you've got multiple ferrets, then obviously they'll usually play with each other, but if you've got like 1, 2 or 3, or like some lazy ferrets like this one here, definitely consider just being a bit more active in playtime with them, engaging with them a lot more, playing with them like hand to hand. It can be quite tempting to just sort of leave them to play together, but I know here at least, my boy Balthazar is so lazy currently that Pierre, he's not really playing with his brother, so Pierre's getting quite antsy, if he's not being a bit more destructive, but yeah, so try and just play with them a little bit more together, see if it makes a difference. And yeah, I thought, like I said, there's not a huge amount of changes or adjustments you need to make, just things to be aware of, changes that you may not recognise or know. But yeah, that's about it. My next video I'm going to do about signs of illness in ferrets, which will just be a guide that you can go through if you have concerns about one of your ferrets or anything. Prompted by this little boy who's worrying me a little bit of how lethargic he is, but like I said, I'm going to get that checked out and I'll let you guys know what happens. But that's all for today. Shall we say goodbye? Bye.